Welcome back, everybody. So thrilled to have them here in the studio as a part of Child Care of Southwest Florida, Inc. We have Chris Hansen, the CEO, and we have Teasha Green, who's running a director of one of their sites. Let's bump both of you in. Welcome to Leaf Pitch Live, finally.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
All right. Now, I said one of the sites, so go ahead and tell me the name of the site.
The name of the site is P.A. Gerasi Child Development Center.
And where is it located?
We're located in the Dunbar area at 3713 Canal Street.
Okay, now we got all of that taken care of. Chris, what is Child Care of Southwest Florida? I've seen the name so many times, but I want you to Sesame Street it for the average person.
Sure. Child Care of Southwest Florida is a not-for-profit that's operated since 1967 in Southwest Florida. And we've been working with children and families, helping them reach their God-given potential and learning and finding the joy in learning and developing early and being ready for not only school, but a life of learning.
Mm-hmm. So it's is there a certain age range?
We generally start at around 6 weeks, and then it goes all the way up to school age. And then some after school, we do kids up into the 8 years old. And summertimes we may go a little older with school age children from like 8 to 12.
Mm-hmm. You are similar to Head Start?
We are actually, Teasha at her center has an early Head Start program and a Head Start program.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we work with the school district doing that at our centers.
Glad to establish that.
Yes, sir.
You guys will be, Teasha, you'll be happy to know that I'm a product of the Head Start program.
Oh,
Are you?
wow.
I was in the first class of Head Start when they started it in 1966, 65, 66.
Wow.
And see, you never know.
You never know.
Because we were growing up in poverty, we qualified for Head Start, and they started it in, I think it was 1965 when they were busing me to Head Start.
Oh, okay.
And years later, after I became relatively who I am now, they had me back at the National Head Start Convention as a product of a person who benefited from the Head Start program, who got early education. Head Start filled the gap because my mom, of course, raising 7 kids by herself. I would never have gotten those early learning principles. So by the time I hit the first grade, I hit the first grade running.
Wow.
So what does that do? That makes me very aware of the importance of Child Care of Southwest Florida and what you guys do. I am a product of the Head Start program.
That's pretty awesome.
And we didn't rehearse this, did we?
No, didn't even know it.
No.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Now, you mentioned like early birth, they can get involved, like in infancy. But at the time, just Head Start as I remember it, I needed to be like 5 years old, I thought, or something like that.
Well, now the agency is saying that we need to start earlier than that.
Really?
So
Great.
they actually start at infancy, and they go all the way up to the 3-year-old classroom, and then when they get out of that program there, they go into our VPK program.
I see. That would, I started seeing that word VPK years later, but I was already, had my master's degree and all of that, and I was living a comfortable lifestyle. But I do understand the gap that was filled. It also helped my mom financially because she couldn't afford daycare, babysitters, and all of that when she was out doing manual type labor, cleaning people's houses, and she got 7 kids. So she was able to put me, when I was able to go to Head Start, she was like, she was happy. And then I'm learning something. Of course, I was too young to understand that I was learning something, but when I hit that first grade, it was like, just like that. And speak to what I just said, and that is a part of y'all initiative.
The research that they conducted while you were going through in the early 60s, they found that the 98% of the child's brain develops in that 0 to 5 year window. And it's so vitally important to build those neurological pathways of learning and also to nutrify the child's brain.
All that fancy stuff. See, that's what you just get a regular phone like me. Get a regular watch like me. All that fancy stuff going off on TV.
I'm
Just
so
get a
sorry.
regular old-fashioned
So
watch
sorry.
like me
So
with no
sorry. So
buzzer,
sorry.
a second hand, an hour hand. Go ahead, man.
So we focus on that 0 to 5 because we know that 98% of the child's brain is going to develop. And what's also important, besides building the pathways of learning, is also to nutrify them. So Teasha and her team feeds them USDA approved, high quality, high nutritious meals in a family meal setting. So they get structure, they get social, emotional, and they also get the nutrifying brain principles. And then Child Care Southwest Florida also works with over 300 child care centers in 26 counties around the state, helping them get funding pulled down from the federal government through the USDA food program, and helps reimburse them 85 cents on the dollar for the dollars they spend on nutritious meals and snacks for their kids.
Now I remember them, even though things have evolved, because they just took me to a school that had a little head start there. But based on what you guys are saying, since those days, things have really evolved now, where you got these pockets of with Child Care Southwest Florida's filling the gap, where you can just create these programs right there in the heart of communities that are less served in many cases, that really need that and need that meal and need all of those types of things. And you're the perfect person for that, Teasha, because you have a sensitivity. Talk about a typical day at your, is it fair to call it a school?
Sorry.
Give me a typical day and who are your students?
Typically, what we're doing is, in the morning time when our children come in, we're giving them a nutritious meal, which is very important for a child's growth. They need to have nutritious meals throughout the day. So we feed them a breakfast when they come in, and then after they eat breakfast, then we do the learning part of the day. Once we do that part, like we do our circle time in the morning time, that's when we sit down with the children, we go over songs, we teach them about their alphabets and things like that in the morning time, because that's when they're really going to grasp the learning is in the afternoon time. Then we allow the children to have free choice time. The children are playing and having a good time in the classroom, and even though the children are playing, they're still learning, because they're learning how to socialize with one another. They're learning how to share with one another. They're learning all about different shapes and colors, because the room is actually set up to be a learning environment.
Love it.
So there's science being in the classroom. There's art in the classroom. So the children are literally getting all aspects of life right there in the classroom.
What's your capacity there, and do you have availability?
My capacity is 120 at my center. We do have space at the moment, but not for long.
Okay.
Because we plan to fill our school up.
Age ranges again, infant to?
Infant through, well, I can actually go up to 9.
Okay, and they're in different, like the infants are in another
Yes,
room?
they're all the rooms, except for our Head Start program. Our Head Start program is run by teachers who are educators, and those teachers are allowed to have 4 children per teacher. So it doesn't matter if they're 1 or 3, but they're allowed to have the 4. Typically, we don't try to have too many infants in there, so that all of the children are getting the necessary training that they need to be getting in the classroom. But each teacher gets 4. And so those classrooms run a little smaller, because the ratio for an infant is 1 through 4. So typically, we don't have that many infants at the center. We typically have 1-year-olds, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and on up.
Chris, how do people qualify to be in the program?
So just for coming to Child Care Southwest Florida, anyone can qualify. And we work with the Early Learning Coalition of Southwest Florida. They help with school readiness dollars for parents if they need assistance, but also we provide scholarships through the United Way and our donors. Being a not-for-profit, we collect philanthropic dollars, and we help parents who are in school, who are job seeking or in jobs. We help them make up the tuition gap if they can't afford their tuition, because we are genuinely committed not only to the excellence in our educators and the quality of our programs, but making sure every child has an opportunity to reach their God-given potential.
Let's talk about the holistic approach, the whole family. Do you have a component for that? That you're working with the child, but you still engaging with the parents in some types of ways?
Absolutely. We do several programs. One of the ones we're just very proud to do recently with the Florida Southwestern University is we had human services workers, students, come in and do internships at two of our centers. One was PA Gerasi, and they would work with families looking for opportunities where services could be provided, and then refer them out through our network of the United Way partner agencies that we work with. And we're, in addition to that, Teasha and her teachers are constantly assessing students and testing them, and then those parents can be referred to a myriad of services, whether it be from a clinical standpoint, whether it be for good nutrition and health, or whether it be for, say, someone's on the spectrum in autism. They'll refer them for further clinical testing and coordinate those resources either through the school district or the resources from our partner agencies.
Now, people who are seeing you on television right now, they're seeing you throughout Southwest Florida. People who are hearing you on my radio show, they're hearing you throughout Southwest Florida. Early on, you talked generally about the amount of territory you cover. So you have several sites, I would say.
Yes, sir.
Do you also go into people's homes, or they have to the kids have to physically come to these sites?
So Child Care Southwest Florida has
word.
three main areas we focus. The one that Teasha and her fellow center directors operate are our directly operated child care, child development centers. We have 4 in Lee County and 1 in Henry, 4 in Fort Myers, 3 in Fort Myers, 1 in Lehigh, and then 1 in LaBelle.
All those areas my TV show goes to, so it's great. Go ahead.
Perfect. Then, in addition to that, Child Care Southwest Florida has the Child Care Food Program. That's outreach to about 26 counties, over 300 child care centers, both homebound centers and professional centers, working with them on nutritional training, nutritional counseling, and help them recoup costs from the USDA food program. And then thirdly, we're the DCF testing and training center for any professional like Teasha and her teachers that are getting into or recertifying as teachers. We provide that for this DCF region.
It sounds like you have a lot of partners too that could refer people to you.
Yes, sir.
You work with the different school districts and so on and so forth.
Yes, sir.
Just kind of give me a broad view of the partners.
Well, one of our biggest referrals is the Early Learning Coalition through School Readiness and VPK, and they refer in, as well as do United Way through their 211 program. We also have a lot of referrals where we outbound refer our kids from our VPK programs into the school district. And Teasha will work with her feeder elementary schools, we call them, and she'll work with those kindergarten teachers there, and she'll let our teachers and their teachers already begin to make a bond, so there's a great warm handoff of the children. And then we also have programs that are funded through grants that we provide during the summertime to offset the precipitous slide in the IQ of children. We work with them in the Focus on 4 program in the summertime. So kids, what the gains the teachers have made with them through the school year, they don't lose them through the summer if they go home and just sit in front of a TV or just play. Their minds are still engaging. One of the great things I think from the secret sauce of Teasha and her teachers, as they are in the other centers, is they stealthily find where kids' interest is through play. When she talks about that playtime, it's very structured and scientific. They find a place of interest, and then they bring in and weave in the learning to where the kid's interested. So the kid not only loves to learn, they have a joy of doing it through their whole lifetime.
How do people find out about you? What's the best way to get in touch with you, and just in general, do a lot of people know you over there?
That's the reason why we're here, because we don't think a lot of people know where we are, and we want to try to get our name out there.
You're right behind Dunbar High School.
We are right
in the
behind
heart of the community.
Right, we're right in the heart of the community, and I believe that the school has a lot to offer. And so we're located behind Dunbar High School, right close to the baseball field on Canal Street at 3713 Canal Street.
There's a phone number and a website you can get?
Yes, the number is 239-337-4995, and the website is
ccswfl.org.
When people go to that website, they'll see your whole footprint, right?
Yes, sir.
And they can identify a place that may be close to where they live?
Yes, sir. And they can connect with us right through the website if they're interested in enrollment. If they say, hey, I'm interested in the P.A. Gerasi Center or the Joseph H. Messina Center on Fowler or Children's Learning Center or Children's Garden, then they can connect right through there and we refer them right within
Is there
the
an
same
enrollment
day.
period or is it always open enrollment?
Always open enrollment. Always enrolling.
How do you, let me slow this down, starting with you, Teasha. How do you feel personally? This is my Oprah Winfrey moment. How do you feel personally knowing that you are making such an impact on some children who are going to have opportunities to realize their full potential?
It's a wonderful feeling. I have always loved working with children, and I always have believed in the agency. The agency is actually for the children and their families. It's not just the child, but they look out for the entire family. Because when you take care of the entire family, these not just the children are successful, but the parents are successful as well. And the agency believes in that.
And Chris, same question to you, but in a different big picture way, knowing that you're leading something like that that's really, really benefiting the community. How does that make you feel personally?
It's one of the greatest joys and privileges of my life to know that I have an opportunity to give back to a community that's given so much to me, being born and raised here, to know that we're building assets for the future, not liabilities. Kids that can think on their own, that can build anything they want to be. I'll walk into a classroom and see these kids and I'll go, okay, who's the next doctor? Who's the next lawyer? Who's the next president? Whatever they want to be, the opportunity's there because they've got it written on their DNA, their potential, and we're going to help them unlock that and find a joy in building that out to its zenith.
In some way, is the mission statement, not literally, but figuratively speaking, is the mission statement to reach to the underserved communities?
It is. We focus on every child. We will accept anyone regardless of their ability to pay. If somebody can pay the full, great, but we treat them no differently than any kid that's in there.
That's right.
We believe regardless of the social determinants that may press down on a child's life, we're going to find a way to give them a hand up and a hand into the destiny they were designed to have.
Are you all year round?
Yes,
sir.
we are.
Just go.
All year round.
I talked about this type of program as a Head Start as a great babysitter for my mom. Some people that's a great babysitter for
We're
them.
not babysitters.
But in the process, the children are learning things. That's my main point.
Right. Yeah.
Go ahead, expound on that.
We're not babysitters. We're not babysitters. You have centers that are considered babysitters. We are not that.
Daycare center.
We go so much more farther than that when it comes down to our children.
Are you controlled by the government?
We are. We both
Federal?
state and federal government.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We work with both the USDA and we work with DCF and through the Early Learning Coalition, which is part of the state government.
And how long have you been in Southwest Florida?
1967.
1967, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I went to Head Start in 65, but I went to Head Start in West Palm Beach.
Oh.
I was living in West
Okay.
Palm Beach at the time. So on Rosemary, in the hood up there. Now they kind of changed it all to a city place and all that, but my little neighborhood is still hanging around over in there. So I ride up there sometime, take a look. I took my son the other day. So I used to live right down there in that alley right there. Like, what? He's got the good life. He has no idea.
Right.
But is it, before I let you get out of here, is it limited to, in terms of qualifying your income or something like that? Or can anybody apply to have their children in there?
Yes, we want your child, so we will accept any income.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the amount of subsidy we can provide through the scholarships is based on a sliding scale based on the federal poverty levels, but we will meet a parent wherever they are. And we have parents that are homeless, we have parents that are in shelters, we have we have grandparents that are being parents again. So we meet families wherever they're at and just help them. The child should not have to know that, and they should just be able to grow up in a loving environment that is vibrant and finds them where they're at and gives them joy in learning.
I would assume that you're familiar with my good friend, Nadare Salim at the Children's Network of Southwest Florida.
Yes, we are. She's one of those community partners that we've worked with for years that has just done wonderful things for our families.
I have a great partnership with them.
Yes.
And I am for many years. And I am surprised that this is the first time I've done a show on your organization.
Well, thank you for having us.
All right, this got to change. All right,
sir.
Let's bump you out.
Yes, sir.
As the saying goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like these fine people who are doing it. And Miami may have the oranges, but Child Care of Southwest Florida has got the
juice.
They got the juice. We'll see you.
Lee Pitts Live is a Lee Pitts Enterprise production.
Hello, everybody. This is Lee. I'm so glad that you watched that particular show. And if you enjoyed that show, we got other shows like that. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel. Watch Lee Pitts Live on demand anytime. And also hit us up on all our social media platforms. Just type in Lee Pitts Live, and there you go.